Today is a very auspicious day, Disappearance Day of one dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur, Srila Krishna Das, Babaji Maharaj. Here I will read from Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. He wrote in our Chaitanya Vani magazine, Srila Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj appeared in a highly educated, respected family of physicians. He attended Dhaka University, that is in Bangladesh, that time India. He attended Dhaka University and completed a Bachelor of Arts degree before taking shelter of the most worshipful Srila Prabhupada's holy feet sometime between 1925 and 1926. The brahmachari name his Gurudev gave him was Sri Swadikarananda Das Brahmachari. Before that, he was already, now I'm telling because I read some other biography, before that he was already searching for Guru. He went to Rishikesh and everywhere but was not satisfied. But only after meeting Srila Prabhupada, he understood, yes, he is a bona fide Guru. And our Srila Bharati Maharaj explained that when he was about to take Diksha, that time Prabhupada already wrote on the paper, his name would be Sarveshwar Das. Then another devotee, by some mistake, he told to Babaji Maharaj, you cannot take Diksha today. You are not in that list. So Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj said, yes, that is okay. I got Harinam. I am not qualified for Diksha, so it is good I should take shelter of Harinam. When Prabhupada heard this, then he changed his name. First he wanted to give Sarveshwar, but then he gave this Swa Adhikarananda, means one who gets delight or pleasure, Ananda, in his own adhikar. That is a person who is sincere. Generally, conditioned souls, we think ourselves more competent, more qualified, more high than we actually are. That is not accepting truth as it is because of wanting some name and fame and like this. But one who is honest, frank, sincere, he will see what is his real position. So Prabhupada was happy with him and he gave him Diksha and this name, Swa Adhikarananda. In the mat, we have long since and repeatedly witnessed Srila Babaji Maharaj's profound attachment to performing Nam Bhajan day and night. Here I am telling from other biographies. Immediately after joining Mat, he was seen to do bhajan like Haridas Thakur, all the time chanting. So after some time, some other brahmacharis, they complained against him. He's staying in the mat, he's taking prasad, but he's not doing any service, all the time chanting, only chanting. So they went to complain to Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada said, yes, you can also do. I will bring all prasad to you. You don't worry, you need not do any service. You only chant all the time Harinam. I will bring you prasad. Prabhupada wanted to show them. So they tried, but no one could do. Then they understood by the grace of Prabhupada, but Babaji Maharaj could do. So then they understood there is a difference of them and he. That is why. So Prabhupada also told him directly, this is your only service. You have to chant Harinam. You don't worry. So day and night. And also when they engaged him as a pujari in Chaitanya Math, in Mayapur, there he was staying, he went there inside temple and was ringing bell with left hand and only chanting Harinam, Mahamantra. That was his way of doing archa, because he had firm faith in that statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita that by chanting Harinam, all other devotional forms are automatically accomplished. So he did like this. He had such a realization. He also possessed a remarkably powerful memory. We were always amazed to hear the many Sanskrit prayers and hymns he could recite, which were so numerous that it would be impossible to cover them all in a full month of non-stop recitation. He memorized by heart Sri Krishna Karnamrita, that is by Bilva Mangal Thakur, Rasa Panchadhyay, that is 5 chapters of Ras Lila, Brahma Stuti, that is prayers of Brahma, Stavavali, they are songs, many songs from Stavamala, Virudavali, Vilap Kushmanjali, and many more Sanskrit compositions. He would somehow recite all these prayers daily and chant 100,000 names of Bhagavan. That is 1 lakh. Our Gurudev also told, when he was in Chaitanya Math, our Gurudev in the beginning, he said, I saw Babaji Maharaj, he was singing continuously in front of Samadhi of Prabhupada. Gurudev, there was no one there, no audience, nothing, but Prabhupada was there, so he was singing, and from the core of heart he was singing. Gurudev said, sometimes I joined his kirtan, but mostly I could stay only for 1 hour because I had other services, but Babaji Maharaj would go on doing all the time kirtan alone. So Prabhupada is hearing, Krishna is hearing. Generally we want big audience to impress, but that is for other targets. But Babaji Maharaj really had devotion. So I heard from Gurudev direct lotus mouth that Babaji Maharaj was doing sincerely bhajan from the core of his heart. That is why you will see in the bhajan kutir of our Gurudev in Calcutta Math, he is keeping photo of Srila Babaji Maharaj in his room. No other Vaishnav, no one. Even Gurudev didn't have. Now they put, but before Gurudev didn't have photo of Parang Gurudev in his room, because Guru and disciple, they cannot stay in same room unless Guru orders. So Gurudev did not have Parang Gurudev even, but he had Babaji Maharaj. Why? Because I heard from Gurudev, when Gurudev already became Acharya, then he was preaching in Punjab and Babaji Maharaj also came with him. Gurudev said to encourage me. So then they were given some room in one place together, Gurudev and Babaji Maharaj. So, and there was one bed and one mattress on the ground. So Gurudev immediately took that mattress on the ground. Then Babaji Maharaj said, no, you should sleep there on the bed. The Guru said, no, you are my Guru Varga. You are my superior. You should stay there. How I can stay higher? No, I will stay here. Then Babaji Maharaj said, no, you have to stay there. Now you are Acharya and I am ordering you. I am telling you, you have to stay there. Then Gurudev had to obey. And he was on the bed and Babaji Maharaj was on the mattress. Then Gurudev said, when it was 10 p.m., then Babaji Maharaj told me, now you take rest. Because you have so many programs and all that, you take rest. Out of affection, he told him. And Gurudev had to obey. Then Gurudev said, when Babaji Maharaj was all the time chanting, 24 hours. So when he put off the light at 10 p.m., when he ordered Gurudev to sleep, then Gurudev said, I heard before he was chanting normal sound, but after this, he would continue, still he would little utter the name, but very silently, sweetly, he would chant, and whole night under that mosquito net and chanting. Gurudev said, I saw him. Whole night was chanting. Bharati Maharaj also, he wrote in that book that he saw him in Brajamandal. Everyone, they saw Babaji Maharaj whole night chanting, not sleeping. Gurudev said, I heard about 6 Goswamis, how they performed bhajan. I did not see them, but I saw some personal associates of Prabhupada, how they are doing bhajan. Said during Brajamandal Parikrama, he would always play Mridanga, Babaji Maharaj, and singing, never tired, never complaining, never nothing, and so many people giving him money. He would not take a single penny, rupee. All he would give to Gurudev. You engage in the service of the mat. And Gurudev said they were keeping this money. Later on, they offered for his samadhi there, to construct this samadhi in Nandagram. So Gurudev said he was sincerely doing bhajan. Also, I heard from my god brother, Sudarshan Prabhu from Jammu. He said, I saw Babaji Maharaj in the beginning, in 80s. He was not so tall, but when there was a kirtan, he would jump. His jumping was highest. He was above all in jumping. Although he was not tall, he was small figure, but the jumping highest. Very, always ecstatic symptom. So, and he would not take any like cloth, or always simple living. Our Gurudev told. Many people, they offered him there in Punjab many things, but he would not keep anything. Everything he would distribute immediately. That was his simple living, high thinking, always chanting and singing. Also there in Punjab, Babaji Maharaj was singing in the program, and another one, Brahmachari, he complained to him that you are here in Punjab, here no one understands Bengali or Sanskrit, why you are singing these songs? No one understands. You sing some Nam Kirtan, Mahamantra or Radha Govinda something. Then Babaji Maharaj, okay. Then Parangurudev also engaged another one singer next day, but the audience, those who are Punjabis, those who don't understand Bengali and Sanskrit, they said, where is Babaji Maharaj? We want to hear him singing. Why you changed? Yes, it is true we don't understand what he's singing, but there is some special bhav is there. That is touching our soul, touching our heart. We are not getting this from this singer. Then again Babaji Maharaj was singing, because sincere soul. So in this way. Here Srila Puri Gosai Maharaj is further saying, Pujopat Ridandi Goswami Srimad Bhakti Hridoy Bon Maharaj used to call him Nam Siddha, or realized in the holy names. His Sanskrit pronunciation was strikingly beautiful as well as crystal clear, and his voice was very sweet. He was also proficient in playing Mridanga. You will also know when our Parangurudev was playing the pastime of sickness before disappearance, That time, in that period, Srila Babaji Maharaj used to stay in our mat and would do kirtans whole time. There in library. Also on that night when then in the morning Parangurudev disappeared, the whole night Babaji Maharaj was singing in that library kirtan, and then also during samadhi and everything. And also you will find he was singing in first Viraha Sabha. There is a recording also of our Parangurudev. After disappearance, there Babaji Maharaj would sing. Srila Babaji Maharaj's Vaishnava humility and renunciation were exemplary, and his character was pious and dignified. Never was there a day when he was seen expressing anger, violence, or hatred. If anyone would say anything to him in anger, he would simply respond with Hare Krishna and laugh. He was never inclined to argue with anyone. Why? Because for someone to be able to chant Harinam constantly, one needs these four qualities. Trinadapi sunichana, tarorapi sahisnu, namani namanadena kirtanya sadahuri. Only such person can do. So Babaji Maharaj was on that platform, so he would not uselessly be disturbed, tolerant as a tree, without desiring any respect, nothing. All the time chanting, not seeing anyone as his enemy or anything. But sometimes he would also be very compassionate. I heard from our Srila Bharati Maharaj, once they were going by train somewhere, and Bharati Maharaj, Krishna Das Babaji, maybe some other devotees, so one person there was, some persons there in the train, they were discussing about Gita something, Bhagavad Gita. So they were discussing, then Babaji Maharaj, generally he never spoke Harikatha like in a mat or like this, all the time chanting. But he was very learned actually. He knew Sanskrit and all Shastra, everything he knew, all Harikatha. But generally would not explain. But that time he became compassionate and he told them, no, this is not the meaning. Then he explained to them in the train the proper meaning of that Bhagavad Gita, what they were discussing, and all they were amazed to hear that explanation. So he was learned in all Shastra also. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that song, Donya doya anyaman pratishta barjan, chari gune guni hoy korho kirtan. Humility and compassion, Donya doya anyaman, giving due respect to all, and pratishta barjan, not desiring any respect from anyone. With these four qualities, one can do Harinam constantly. Babaji Maharaj was like that. He was like Haridas Thakur in Gauriya Mat, all the time chanting. Either Kirtan or Japamala, and a whole night also chanting. One time, when Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj came to see him in Nandagram, when some Brajamandal Parikrama before, so Babaji Maharaj, suddenly he told him, it is Ekadashi. Let us stay awake whole night and chant Harinam. As if never happened. Because he was on that ruchi, means pure devotion, but one who is tasting Harinam, he's tasting it pratipadang purnamrita swadam. Every time, all the time new taste is coming. So he said, as if, let us chant whole night. It is Ekadashi. Then Puri Goswami Maharaj, he told that he was a bit afraid, what if I will not be able to stay awake? But they were chanting. Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj also pure devotee, but out of humbleness, he said. So then they did whole night. They were chanting Harinam, and then morning continue all things. So they are not ordinary persons. They really get taste of Harinam. Why Haridas Thakur or such devotees, they are not sleeping? Because they have better things to do. Chant Harinam for satisfaction of Krishna. So he was never angry because no false ego. The scripture state, Krishna Bhakte Krishna Gun Sakali Sanchare. Shri Krishna infuses his devotees with all of his qualities. This was always glaringly apparent in Srila Babaji Maharaj's character. He was the prime recipient of the mercy of Bhakti Devi, the goddess of devotion, who is the empress of all virtues. All the demigods took up residence within him, as he is replete with all good qualities. His beautiful mouth pronounced the names of Hari at every moment. Practically, all of the Vaishnavas of the Mat loved Srila Babaji Maharaj. Srimad Bhaktivedanta Madhav Gosai Maharaj had great affection for him. You will find, if you go in our Calcutta Mat, Bhajan Kutir of Parangudev, that room just in front, where there are photos of Parangudev on the wall up, you will see Babaji Maharaj is there. During Nagar Sankirtans and other functions, there. You will see him on photo. Drawn by his affection, Babaji Maharaj resided in many of his mats and participated in various festivals and pilgrimages, thus repeatedly pleasing Sri Madhav Maharaj. Also, he was visiting other, like Srila Bhakti Hridaya Bon Gosai Maharaj, Sridhar Maharaj, Keshav Gosai Maharaj, all Vaishnavas. Wherever he went, he was loved by all. I heard from Gopananda Bon Maharaj. He is a disciple of Srila Bhakti Hridaya Bon Gosai Maharaj. He would stay there, Babaji Maharaj, for like 6 months. And doing Kirtan, he was always in bhajan. And he would never instruct anything to anyone. That was not his mood, or chastise or anything. He would do his own bhajan. But Gopananda Bon Maharaj shown it, but one day he gave me some instructions. I feel very fortunate. Generally he would not do this, but out of compassion he gave me some guidance, some that. Generally Babaji Maharaj would only instruct you, if other would ask any question, always you chant Harinam, and he would, that also I heard from Gurudev, he would insist that you should pronounce the name. Not only mentally, but you should pronounce, at least with some sound, but you should pronounce it clearly, the name. That was, he insisted on this. Otherwise it is not, our Gurudev told, otherwise it is not Yukta Vairagya. You are not using everything in the service of Krishna. Prior to entering into his unmanifest pastimes at his Bhajan Kutir in Nandagram, Srila Babaji Maharaj used to stay at our Sri Chaitanya Gauriya Math branch in Sri Dham, Vrindavan. However, his most beloved place to perform bhajan was a tiny secluded chamber in the original Akara Mataraj Sri Chaitanya Math in Sri Dham, Mayapur, on the 3rd floor of the Bhakti Vijay Bhavan, the Bhajan Kutir of Srila Prabhupada. Aside from there, in whichever mat he visited among the many all over India, he would always look for a quiet place to perform his bhajan. He was the living example of the words of the great personalities before us. Dekho bhai, naam bina din nahi jaye. Look, brother, let not a single day go by without the chanting of Naam. He never spent his time in useless conversation. He was Ajata Shatru. That is, he never considered anyone as his enemy. Like we heard yesterday, they killed Jesus, but he did not see as enemy. He prayed for them. Or Haridas Thakur, he prayed for them. They are never seeing. Gurudev said, they are seeing, I am reaping the fruits of my own actions, or it is by the will of Krishna. He wants to show to the world the glorious character of devotee. So Haridas Thakur, or like this, or Babaji Maharaj, they are not seeing anyone as enemy. You may cut the tree, but the tree will not say anything. He can tolerate seeing the will of Krishna, and still he will be all good to that person. He will give fruits, shade, everything, wood, everything to the person who is killing him, or that is not so easy. They are those who are real sadhus. They have such qualities. One with false ego cannot have such. And that type of sincerity, not possible. We try to pretend and these things, or twist, but they are frank. So Haridas Thakur, although he had no fault, but he told after that it was right that I got such punishment because I was hearing the vilification of Vaishnavas. So it was proper punishment for me, although he never did any such thing. But those elevated devotees, they always see like this. They are always humble and they see fault in themselves, even if there is none. Also Ambarish Maharaj, no fault in him, but he thought, yes, it is my fault. So they are, because no false ego is there, they can do, no one can practice, follow this, Trinada Pisa Nichana Tarora Pisa Hisana, more tolerant than three, if he is not on transcendental platform in his real ego. If there is a tinge of false ego, he is unable to do this, so he is also unable to always chant Harinam. Today, the more I remember him, the deeper and deeper I feel his absence, and my heart becomes exceedingly distraught. During Parikrama, I often had the good fortune of sharing lodgings with him. It was then I saw how he sat and chanted Nam throughout the night. You see, Puri Maharaj also saw, and recited the countless verses he knew. You will find the recordings on YouTube also. He's singing Sanskrit songs, Bengali, and Mahamantra you will find. He was also, mostly these recordings were made by ISKCON devotees, you will find. And he was also doing kirtan when Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was taking sannyas in Mathura from Keshav Goswami. That time Babaji Maharaj doing kirtan. And he had full faith in Swami Maharaj. He said he has real faith in Harinam. And Srila Sai Maharaj also had full appreciation of Babaji Maharaj. He said his only business is to chant Hare Krishna. He is a Kinchan, he has no material desires, no possessions, no nothing. His only business is to always chant Harinam. Full appreciation, because each devotee, they get different services. So those who are really interested in service, they can appreciate the service of another, though it may be different outwardly. Like someone is preaching all over the world, someone is only chanting. We think only chanting, but it is not. All are pleasing Krishna. That is the main point. Babaji Maharaj had no disciple, but that does not mean that he did not satisfy Krishna, that he is useless. No. Everyone doing what they are supposed to do. So that is why you will find in ISKCON, they are saying Akinchan Krishna Das Babaji. Although his name is Krishna Das Babaji, not Akinchan Krishna Das. But they are using this because Sai Maharaj told he's a Kinchan. And sometimes then, in due course of time, I also heard, then they say Akinchan Babaji Maharaj. And then already lost that. So in time it goes like that. His name is Srila Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, not Akinchan Babaji. Srila Krishna Das Babaji. He was brahmachari all the time. Then after the disappearance of Prabhupada, he, I will have to open that, how he took Babaji. So I'm reading here further. Although he would sing the holy names while playing mridanga for the entire distance of our parikrama, I never saw him become even a little fatigued. He was always smiling. This I heard from Gurudev also. Many wealthy people would give Srila Babaji Maharaj money and expensive things, but he would never keep any of it for himself. Instead, he would distribute those items for the service of Bhagavan and the Vaishnavas. He usually wore just a short knee-length garment around his waist. This you will see in the photos in our Parangurudev's Bhajan Kutir. And he kept a simple bed mat and sheet. He gladly went through the harsh cold of winters with a simple blanket while wearing an ever-smiling face, always satisfied at heart. A person who is constantly immersed in contemplation of Bhagavan does not notice the goings on around him. Srila Babaji Maharaj was never eager for any material gain, worship or prestige. Indeed, he did not long for such things at all. It was as if he was the personification of the Trinadapi Sunichana verse, as instructed by Sriman Mahaprabhu. Alas, now that I have lost the company of such an exemplary Vaishnava, who took such great delight in the worship of the holy names, who knows how long I will have to endure the hellish torture of this unlucky life on earthly plane. Also, you remember when Srila Gaur Govinda Sai Maharaj suddenly fainted and he was unconscious, so they all thought he's sick, something. Doctors checked, they said no, nothing sick. Then and all were worried, they did not know. Then Babaji Maharaj came and he observed, he said, no, it is all right, this is bhav. He's in bhav, in samadhi, so you don't worry. This is ecstatical symptoms, so the one who has that, he can recognize in others. No one else can do. So here, further, the stickers Srila Babaji Maharaj printed in Hindi and Bengali about the principle of Kirtaniya Sadahuri and Mahamantra can be seen almost everywhere in Shri Braja Mandal, in many places in Shri Gaura Mandal and Shri Kshetra Mandal, as well as in almost all of our branches of Shri Chaitanya Gauriya Math. Reading or even seeing these stickers always bring to mind sweet memories of him. There are also many places in Braja where he propagated these teachings by means of stone etchings. So that was his preaching. Trinada Pisurichina Shlok and Mahamantra. I saw these Mahamantras in our Calcutta Math, but I don't know, they are same which Babaji Maharaj put or they were put after, I don't know, but I saw some Bengali Mahamantra. very dear to Srila Babaji Maharaj were the many songs written by the presiding Acharya of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and Sridham Navadip, the most venerable Tridandi Swami Srimad Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Gosai Maharaj, such as Sri Srila Prabhupada Padma Stavaka, that is Sujanar Buddharadita Padaja. That was every time Babaji Maharaj singing. Srimad Bhakti Vinod Biraha Dashakam, Shri Shri Daita Dasa Dashakam, Shri Srimad Gaur Kishore Namaskar Dashakam, and the 70 verses of Shri Prem Dham Deva Stotram, especially the following verse. This you will hear in his recordings. Krishna, 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 Krishna Nama Kirtanam, Rama, Rama, Gana Ramya Dibya Chandanartanam, Yatra, Yatra, Krishna Nama, Dana Lokanistaram, Prema Dama Devameva Nomi Gaura Sundaram. By Sridhar Maharaj. I venerate that Lord, the abode of love, Gaura Sundar, who always danced as he sang the names Krishna, 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 and Rama, Rama, in beautiful melodies. Wherever he went, he bestowed the names of Krishna and delivered the people of that place. So this was the favorite shloka of Babaji Maharaj. One time, Babaji Maharaj, I heard in recording of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he went to visit the birthplace of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And there he started to eat earth. Then they asked him, why you are doing this? Then he said, you don't know about Sridhar Maharaj. His songs are not different from that of Rupa Goswami. That is why I'm eating this earth here. Also, I heard from Tirtha Maharaj in Hungary. He's Gurudev. He's a disciple of Sai Maharaj, but then he was in Mayapur in ISKCON. Then one day, Babaji Maharaj told him, you want to see a real sadhu? Then that time Dwarakadish, I think his name was. Yes. Then Babaji Maharaj took him to Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Navadip, that mat, and Sridhar Maharaj was speaking Harikatha, and they were sitting, and then Babaji Maharaj was standing there little behind Sridhar Maharaj, and he was pointing to that Dwarakadish Prabhu with finger like showing on Srila Sridhar Maharaj. You see, he's a real sadhu. Like this with mood, he was pointing, he's the real sadhu. So full faith. And they had many correspondence. I heard from Sridhar Maharaj in recordings, many letters, and yes, that later I will tell. He often sang the above verse as well as one of the lines from Srila Prabhupada's song Vaishnav Ke. Karo Uche Sware Hori Nam Rop. Chant the names of Sri Hari at the top of your voice. Our Gurudev also said this, that Babaji Maharaj would sing this song. Our Gurudev also was singing this song, Vaishnav Ke. Srila Babaji Maharaj printed a small booklet containing a collection of teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu and his dear associates, the Goswamis, regarding Nam Bhajan. He would distribute this booklet everywhere free of charge and give it to others to distribute as well. He was possessed of indomitable enthusiasm when it came to the practice and preaching of Sri Harinam. Krishna was very merciful to have granted us the fortune of associating with a Vaishnava so dedicated to the holy names. Today it is a matter of great misfortune that we have been deprived of his company. But as it is said, Swatantra Krishna Richa Hoilo Sangabhanga, it is by the independent will of Krishna that my association with him has been severe. Krishna is in control of everything. For our karma, when some person will give up his body according to his karma, Krishna is giving that fruit. We may have some our own desires, but no one can go against Krishna's desire. Krishna gives, Krishna takes. They all belong to him. So both is true. For those who are under the influence of karma, they come by the will of Krishna, because Krishna is giving the fruit of that. And by the will of Krishna they go, because Krishna is giving the fruit of that karma. And it is same for Vaishnavas. We get association of Vaishnavas, they are not under karma, but by the grace of Krishna, and Krishna also takes them. So those who are submitted to the will of Krishna without having any separate desire, they can be peaceful. During Brajamandal Parikrama last Kartik, when we had his audience at that same Bhajan Kutir in Nandagram, he repeatedly declared, "I will not go anywhere else." Nandagram was time and again the place he chose as most favorable for his bhajan. Hence, Sri Hari, who is a wish-fulfilling tree, granted him the eternal shelter of his lotus feet at that very place. There he disappeared. Being a Vaishnava, Srila Babaji Maharaj saw no faults in others. All I pray is that he may, out of his good nature, purify me of the various offenses and mistakes I committed at his feet, either knowingly or unknowingly. As it is our misfortune that one by one, Srila Prabhupada's intimate associates are all leaving to that eternal abode, to render eternal service at his beautiful lotus feet, thereby depriving us of the great fortune of their company. As Srila Babaji Maharaj has recently entered those eternal pastimes, my sole prayer at his lotus feet is to accord me the ability to very soon serve the lotus feet of my eternally worshipful Guru Padma. By leaving this world, Srila Prabhupada's disciples are attempting to educate us, as it is said, Sheshak Stavaram Ichantikim Acharjamatah Param. The greatest wonder is that people think they will live forever, despite the inevitability of death. Or as Lakshman said, Nishvase Naiva Vishvasa Kada Rudo Bhavishyati. One cannot trust when one might stop breathing. But we are so unfortunate that even after listening and witnessing these lessons, we are unable to learn them and thus continue to act in ignorance. So this was written by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosai Maharaj. I also read from Srila Bharati Maharaj and also some ISKCON devotees. They had association with him. So here one thing I want to find. It was one night. One second. Yes, this also. I once asked on this Disappearance Day, our Bharati Maharaj, what Babaji Maharaj liked to take as prasad so that we can cook. Then Bharati Maharaj told me he was not having any liking preference like this. He was so simple, only he would take what was given and not complaining nothing, only honoring prasad and chanting. So here, he had no interest in eating fine prasadam or wearing opulent clothes. Yes, there was one dream. It's a long history, but I want to find. Yes, when he was doing bhajan there in Nandagram, one day he got a dream of Banshidas Babaji Maharaj, and he ordered him to take the dress of a Babaji, renounced it. So Swadhikarananda followed Bangshi Dasa's order and accepted that Babaji dress at Sanatan Goswami's Bhajan Kutir at Nandagram in front of a picture of Srila Prabhupada. Then he got this name, Krishna Das, Babaji Maharaj. And one time also, during Brajamandal Parikrama, when in the Dauji Mandir, in Gokul Mahavan, Baladev is there, and also Revati. You have to go from the side to see the Revati. You will not see in front. Another, from side you have to see to take darshan of Revati. So there, Babaji Maharaj was doing bhajan. Then suddenly he fainted. But before that he said, you take me with me, you take me with you. And he fainted. Then no one could understand. Then after he regained consciousness, they were asking, but he did not say anything to anyone. Later on, he said to some of his intimate devotee friends that he got darshan of Krishna Balaram. They are going to graze the cows. And that time Babaji Maharaj said, you take me with you, you take me with you, from his own eternal Swarup. Because Babaji Maharaj is situated in Sakyaras. I also heard from our Gurudev, when someone was asking, how is it that Babaji Maharaj is in Sakyaras? Then Gurudev said, because Sakyarasa and Madhurya Rasa, they are connected. They can happen together. So Gurudev said, when in the evening when Krishna comes, then he will milk the cows, and there are some gopis also there in the cowshed and cowherd boys. Together that lila is happening. So for that reason, Babaji Maharaj is required, because in lila all services are required. Everyone is doing their own service. So that was his service. He was in Priya Narma Saka Bhav, follower of Subal Saka. He openly also said to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and Sridhar Maharaj confirmed, follower of Subal, that is Priya Narma Saka, means they are cowherd boys who are also assisting in Krishna's Madhurya Jalila with gopis. And another thing also happened, I read here, and also from ISKCON devotees, there are many incidents here. I cannot say all, but it's very nice. And our Gurudev also, I heard, they got that land in Puri, the appearance place of Prabhupada, after 10 years. Then Param Gurudev disappeared. Then Gurudev was worried how we will make that temple. We have no money. So one day they were going on the Grand Road in Puri with Babaji Maharaj and another one. Then suddenly one man stopped his car, came out and offered obeisance to Babaji Maharaj and spontaneously gave him 500 rupees. That time it was a big money. And to Gurudev also and something, but he was attracted to Babaji. Then Babaji Maharaj thought he might help. So later on, it was that that person invited Babaji Maharaj, who was from Calcutta, for Ekadashi Kirtan, and Babaji Maharaj did whole night. And yes, before that person was constantly requesting Babaji Maharaj what I can do for you, how I can serve. Babaji Maharaj never requested anything. He said, if Prabhupada will show me something, then I will tell you. So then, that whole night, doing Ekadashi, Kirtan, whole night. Then in the morning, as was usual, he would sing that song of Prabhupada, Sujanarbu Daradita Pada Jugam, Jugadharma Duram, that. After that Kirtan, then he suddenly said, I got from Prabhupada, you can offer to build that temple there in Jagannath Puri, his birthplace. Then that person gave whole money. So it was by Babaji Maharaj's he was instrumental in that. So many services. There are many incidences here, but time is going. So it also happened, yes, when Babaji Maharaj, here Badan Maharaj telling, and also ISKCON devotees, at the end, like, then Babaji Maharaj manifested some pastimes of illness. So he was taken by his well-wishers to the Agra hospital. When the doctor examined him with his stethoscope, he was astonished to hear the holy name vibrating in the stethoscope instead of the sounds of Babaji Maharaj's breath and heartbeat as expected. All he heard was the sound of Mahamantra. Stethoscope. Mahamantra was coming. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then further here it is written, the doctor was puzzled and examined him again with the same results. He then called his associates to also examine Babaji Maharaj, but everyone heard some holy sound, same holy sound emanating from his chest, means Mahamantra. Unable to find any illness, they released Babaji Maharaj and he returned to Pavan Sarovar. Then he disappeared there. It was April 12th, 1982 at 9 a.m. There in Nandagram. But there are many pastimes in this biography, how he was doing bhajan, and also from here ISKCON devotees. They found this, that Babaji Maharaj had one small song book in which he kept notes. So he made his last entry before leaving this world. He wrote there, chanting the holy name of Krishna is the true nectar. The holy name is like honey. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That was his last entry. Krishna now is nectar. It is like honey. And Mahamantra he wrote. After that, he disappeared. So whoever would ask him something, he would always reply, Hare Krishna. Sometimes, rarely, as I heard from Bharat Maharaj, he would explain. He knew English, Bengali, Hindi, everything. He was very learned, Sanskrit. But he showed this exemplary life of being fully dedicated to chanting constantly. So when one time Gurudev, I submitted to Gurudev that there are so many sadhanas and so many Vaishnavas coming and they are advising you do this, you do that. So then I said, Guru, if I would attempt to do all that, then there is no time, or I don't know what you want me to do like this. I asked Gurudev. Then Gurudev explained to me that main in Kali Yuga is to chant Harinam, and he would give so many instructions on that chanting. Then he would say, like you see, example is Haridas Thakur and Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. That time Gurudev was giving me him as an example to be followed in chanting Harinam. But the point is, in order to chant Harinam, actually one needs this. Trinada pisu nichana tarora pisahisno namanina manadina kirtaniya sahuri. Need. So unfortunately I am not interested in chanting Harinam like Babaji Maharaj. All worldly topics and other interests, anarthas, all there. But we have to see such examples and try again and again to purify heart and to make our life successful by coming to this pure chanting. Then everything is also revealed inside your heart. So Gurudev encouraged me that I should follow Babaji Maharaj's example in giving main importance on chanting Harinam. So I am remembering, there are many other pastimes if you read those biographies. So I am remembering Srila Babaji Maharaj's Samadhi Mandir. I was there when we were doing Brajamandal Parikrama in Nandagram. That primary school of Srila Bhakti Hridoy Bongo Sai Maharaj is there, and Pavan Sarovar and Nandagram, and there near Pavan Sarovar you have to go a little behind that school. There is Babaji Maharaj's Samadhi Mandir. I had that fortune to visit that place. So I'm bowing down to him and praying his causeless mercy that I may attain this Trinada Pisunichana Tarora Pisahisnam Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahuri. Gurudev told me, without practicing this, you cannot attain ultimate goal, or highest goal of life. You cannot attain. You have to practice this. There is no way out. You cannot avoid or think somehow. No. You have to practice this Trinada Pisunicha again and again. You have to practice. Otherwise, it is impossible to attain Krishna Prema. There, Mahaprabhu told, Jai Rupa Loile Nam Prem Upajoy. In what way one has to chant Harinam so that Prem will manifest. Then he spoke this. So this we have to practice. Learning from a real chanter, real pure devotee, learning how to practice this. What is the meaning of Trinada Pisunichana? What is the meaning of Tarora Pisahisnuna? Amanin Mana. And then we have to practice this and purify our heart. Then we can attain that. So I'm praying, Srila Babaji Gosai Maharaj. I saw his photo in Gurudev's Bhajan Kutir and in Parangurudev's Bhajan Kutir and Nandagram, everywhere. I admire him. I'm very much encouraged by reading. Today I read what everything what is available about him. I read today and became encouraged to chant Harinam. So I'm praying his causeless mercy. Tomorrow also we will hear about Srila Bhakti Kumut Shanta Gosai Maharaj, a pure devotee, and our Srila Bhagavat Gosai Maharaj, also Disappearance tomorrow, and Srila Shanta Gosai Maharaj Appearance. It comes this year, they come on the same day, these two deities. Haribol.